Now with 6 locations across the St. Louis area, Kind Goods makes it easier than ever to shop locally for quality cannabis. This locally owned deli-style dispensary offers premium flower, personalized service, and one of the largest deli-style selections in Missouri. Visit Kind Goods in Fenton, Manchester, St. Peter's, Soulard, on the Hill, or in Maryland Heights. Same standards, same care, now with more locations near you. Learn more or find your closest store at thekindgoods.com.
Hey, welcome to Green. Hey, how you doing? What are you doing over there, guy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, welcome to Greenway Audio Magazine. I'm B. Dunn. That gentleman right there, that's Tim Pickett.
Hey, everybody.
We are going to be talking very, very quickly to our friend Zach Smith of Altered Focus Studios. He's been featured in Greenway before for his cannabis industry photography. He's got a table book coming out to celebrate 420. A dude that's been around the plant for a few years, has done a lot of different cool creative things and been both inside and adjacent to the industry. And love to see creatives, love to talk to him about some of the things he's got going on and some of the things he's already done. Big fan of some of his culinary infusions and recipes and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, he's going to be coming up with us here in just a couple minutes. Before we dive into that, I wanted to do just a very quick rundown of some of the big things going on recently in the nation as far as it relates to cannabis. Alabama is doing, and money is always such a big thing. We've got our own issues with tax revenues and stuff in Missouri right now that are kind of stagnant and sitting there untouched, despite what they're supposed to be allocated for. Alabama's kind of in a opposite situation. Their medical cannabis commission found that there were overpayments. They found that there were violations of the Open Meetings Act and stuff like that. It would be really nice if we could just collectively, as not just the industry, but everybody that supports cannabis, regulators in other states and all states, if we could just collectively get our shit together so that we stop giving everyone an excuse to I have no idea how much of this is gonna show up because my microphone was so far away for so long.
It sounded
good.
You
hear me better?
I heard it perfect.
Oh, okay, great. It feels like there's constantly negative news around regulated cannabis.
Yes.
And it's usually, not always, but usually the fault of the regulators or the politicians or the lobbyists or the organizers of campaign committees or whatever it happens to be. It's very, very rarely the operators in these industries or the consumers or the patients, but those are the ones that wind up being impacted by poor decision making and poor execution of regulatory products and stuff. Texas is banning smokable hemp. The smokable hemp ban goes into effect on March 31st, which by the time this is in your ear holes, that's going to be right now. Right now in your ear holes, Texas is like, fuck smokable hemp. We've talked about it before. I think on a long enough timeline, anything smokable in cannabis is going to be at the very least segmented as an adult use only product. I think that as we look at FDA regulations potentially coming and rescheduling and stuff, I just don't see a path where anyone is going to say smoking cannabis is a viable health method from a federal government standpoint. They've never done that. I can't see them doing it. The Ohio law banning intoxicating hemp also in effect. Missouri's just bounced the bill from the House to the Senate. Senate sent back a sub. we're recording this a little bit early, but the expectation is that probably this week or next week, that's going to be done. This is the final quells for the hemp industry as it was 2 years ago. We've seen it get regulated state by state and stuff like that, but with the federal regulations that surround the Farm Bill, I just don't see a whole lot of interest from most states in prolonging the intoxicating hemp industry. With the few carve outs that we've seen for beverages seem to be, anytime you've got convenience and liquor lobbies behind you, it does help to carve out little things like that. So I think that the reality is intoxicating hemp is not going to be nearly what it was, a couple years ago. And there's good sides and bad sides to that. The biggest negative is it restricts access in a lot of places, because it was a lot more affordable and a lot easier as far as regulation to get into the hemp market in almost any state than it was to get into the licensed marijuana market. The opposite side of that, however, is we got a lot of people into that market that weren't interested in simple things like testing and childproof packaging and age gating. And you and I have said it before, if you don't police yourself, somebody else is going to police you. And at some point, even the best actors have to look around and be like, look, we've got one bad actor can endanger too many people for this to be a reality. We're still seeing the ongoing fiasco in Nebraska, kind of the ripple effect of the person that certified their, what's it called? The notary, sorry.
Yeah.
The ongoing effects of the notary that was indicted there.
Right.
That kind of put a lot of shade on an otherwise, positive thing. And again, it's not the operators, it's not the patients, it's a dude that sat there, and it is what it is. We will be seeing more and more. Rhode Island has placed a ban on THC drinks in bars and restaurants, and I think what we're seeing now is the cigarette effect. They literally prescribed cigarettes for asthma in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe even as late as the 60s. They were smoking on airplanes, they were smoking in restaurants and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden in the 80s and 90s, they're like, not only is it bad, but it's so bad that we're going to hit these companies with billion-dollar lawsuits and say you can't advertise anywhere to anybody about anything, basically, because we think you were targeting kids. I think we're starting to see kind of the same thing with the cannabis industry, especially on the hemp side, where they're like, look, you guys saw the playbook. You saw what we did to alcohol. You saw what we did to tobacco, and you weren't proactive. So we're going to restrict. And while advocacy for cannabis is, we should be getting more access to more people, and we should be doing more. The reality is, anytime you're putting anyone at risk, but especially kids, there's always going to be some hefty come down on that. So I would like to ask you, what has been the most significant thing or the most significant shift that you've seen in you do a lot of traveling, you're in and out of the state, you're in other markets. What have you seen over the last 2 to 3 months? The first quarter of 2026 is about to come to an end, or is coming to an end. What are some of the things you're seeing both in this state and other states?
Just as far as like noticing things in a dispensary,
Yeah,
in retail.
yeah.
Yeah,
Whether it's in the dispensary or
yeah,
out in the community or out in the public, one of the big things I've seen is a regression in the number of like the pseudo dispensaries, especially in Missouri. It seems like some of those are becoming less common.
yeah, yeah. I have noticed that. I've noticed that. We've touched on it before, but infused pre-rolls are now pre-rolls. I mean, I feel like those are that's what everybody's looking for. Everybody, everybody's making them. But that just came on pretty quick. Like it was, I mean, it happened and everybody's like, oh, cool, infused. And now it's like, oh no, they have to be infused. That's everywhere. I've been seeing a lot more 2-gram carts too. That's something that I didn't think I would see this ever, really. And
pretty
now,
reasonable prices too.
Pretty darn reasonable. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of companies that are putting those out in cool packaging too. Cool little thingamajigs. There's a
The
name
new
for
Timeless T2 one is really really interesting. It's very advanced for an all-in-one that we try and stay away from the word disposable.
Right.
An all-in-one that with the right company is properly recyclable.
Yes, that's correct. We on the Curio side, we partnered with a brand that's coming out in May called Super Fog, and similar to the T2. It's, oh my God, I cannot wait. But the first thing I did is when I knew that they were coming to Missouri, called up Zach at Monarch, and I said, this is what it looks like. Are you able to recycle these? And he's like, yep. So really, really stoked about that. But those are the two things that I've seen are the increased gram size of vape carts and AIOs, and then infused pre-rolls being like the new just pre-roll.
I think, and we've kind of talked about this a few times. I know I've had this conversation with other people. I think that on a longer timeline, you look 3, 4, 5 years ahead, I think pre-rolls in general are going to overtake regular flower, because
I could see, yes.
whenever I always go back to other industries. Whenever you look at the tobacco industry, they still have loose leaf, they still have roll your own, they still have pipes and things like that. But we are a society built on convenience, and the most convenient form factor of smoking cannabis, especially whenever you're talking about like large scale cultivation, it's pre-rolls, because you're getting, as much as people want to dig on pre-rolls, you're getting essentially the same quality, especially from the top-notch pre-rolls and the top-notch blunt companies. Like Franklin's is the #1 blunt company in the country, and they talk all the time about how they only use like the best nugs on their products. Peter C from Head Change has talked about how they don't use essentially like low quality inputs on any of their products. And so whenever you're taking the best quality and you're condensing it down into the most convenient form factor for the average person, I've been in this industry for a minute. I hate rolling my own. I hate the time it takes. I'm not a big like pipe smoker and stuff like that. I want to smoke a joint. I want to smoke, a hash hole or something, but I'm not gonna sit here and take my big sausage fingers and delicately roll up this little tiny thing that's the appropriate size for me. Give me a 5-pack, give me a 3-pack of the little tumble bangers, something like that. And I think more and more that's going to be the form factor.
I agree, man.
We see kind of leading the pathway because of convenience.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick, we've got some friends. They've got an event coming up here in just a couple weeks in Atlantic City. I'm super stoked for it. I think you might be stoked for it. If you're out there, if you're trying to make connections, why don't you why don't you lend us your ears real quick?
Yeah, please.
And listen and see what's going on in Atlantic City here in just a little bit.
The cannabis industry is all about growth, and if growth is on your radar, MJ Unpacked should be too. It was just named one of the fastest 50 growing trade shows in the U.S. by Trade Show Executive. It's back in Atlantic City for 3 high-impact days built for licensed cannabis operators. Step into expert-led sessions, build real partnerships in the experience hall, then keep the momentum going. First, at the official after party with brand activations, and again at the MJU Cup Awards, celebrating New Jersey's top shelf brands. This is where operators, capital, and opportunity converge, and where deals get done. Register and save 20% off your pass with code Greenway20 at mjunpacked.com.
Welcome back to Greenway Audio Magazine. Right now we have a guest, Zach Smith. You may know him from Altered Focus, but he also has a book coming out this week, Things to Look At While You're High. I have looked at this book.
Easy to remember, and you get the gist of what
I got the
Great
gist.
title.
Yeah, I got the gist.
Can you summarize the plot for us? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so it's a grammar book. And it teaches
okay,
us,
perfect.
yeah,
Good.
Spanish to English.
Hooked on phonics.
Yeah.
Hooked on phonics, you know.
That's great. Well, okay. So I mean, obviously you're extremely creative. We've worked together before. I've known you for a while. Big fan of your work. You're hilarious, extremely creative. You've got your hands in everything. How did this, I mean, I can take a guess as to why you came up with the idea for this book, but was there an event or something? What happened?
Okay, so the book itself came after the idea of doing, like, this version of the book didn't exist at first. Things to Look At While You're High was originally supposed to be just mainly like cannabis, like macros, like my studio work. I have, I'm a cannabis photographer for years now. I have a large amount of like cannabis images on my hard drives that, aren't licensed to anybody. No one's using them. They're just there being pretty. And it was like October, November of last year, 2025, where I was like, I want to do something with these. And I came up with something that was a lot more hands off than what this ultimately ended up being. We were going to call it Bud and Bloom. The voices in my head and myself. I was going to call it Bud and Bloom, and it was just kind of going to be just the pictures. Yeah. Maybe like some graphics, and I was going to make it real, like real florally and kind of like cute, and that was sort of the thing. I just was like, what would be a good way to present these images more than like what the madness this turned into. And part of the reason that this devolved into the images that you guys have seen, and for some reason is that I have one of my best friends is a graphic designer, and he does a lot of freelance stuff, or had been for years and years. And so I had asked him if he would be down to help me kind of come up with the graphics. I was like, I want to do a coffee table book that's all a bunch of pictures of weed, but I kind of want it to be silly and maybe talk to the person that's reading it. I want to call it Things to Look At While You're High, because it's a bunch of pictures of weed, and maybe have him do like some like silly text graphics like in between, make them very pretty and floral and kind of like fit that sort of a vibe. And then while we were planning that, like at the end of last year, he got a real job. And
yeah, that happens.
I know, lame, man. So
it's the worst feeling when you start a creative project with someone and they're like locked in,
got
and
a
then
job
they
at
go
a bank,
out and they get a big boy job, and then their schedule doesn't align anymore.
Yeah,
I've never experienced that personally.
Wouldn't know.
I've never had anything like that happen with me, where it significantly cuts into your time to coordinate and brainstorm and do crazy shit together. But I can imagine hypothetically how that would be like, oh man, but now my guy's got responsibilities and
Yeah.
shit. And
his boss was apparently like down his back, like really, really adamantly like watching him about the double dip. Wasn't even like a work from home. So I think he's going to the office. So
dude, come on.
I know, right? I think he's about to get married now, and he's going to be a stepdad, and I think he wants to be a real person for some reason. But
I see.
We used to call that
One of
selling
them.
out.
Real
Big
right?
Fish had a whole song about it.
Give it 10 months.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Probably has a nice house.
They're very happy, and I think that he's in a good spot. But
I'm sure.
Really put me in a bad one. So I am not the best graphic designer. I can work Illustrator. I can hit you with a product or like a packaging design, right? I can work a dial line real well. Past that, like I'm not like artistically inclined in like Illustrator doing anything like that. So I kind of just started playing around and trying, and was like, what is this book going to be? And as I'm just like messing around and I'm better at Photoshop, so I start working in Photoshop. I start cutting things out and making things that make me laugh just as practice. And was just like, these are things I know how to do. These are the dumb things that I do with like my friends, cut them out, put their heads on things, my animals. Every year, my girlfriend and I have 7 animals, and every year I'd make her some sort of like cutout with all the heads of the animals, like put them on all the Lord of the Ring characters and stuff. So I started doing stuff like that to try to like, okay, I need some reps. I need reps on this because I'm going to be a graphic designer now.
Yeah.
And then it slowly started turning into, I'm going to make a landscape made out of weed only. And now it's just a landscape. It looks like an alien land. Well, there should be aliens in it, and they should be hunting people that have arrived and are trying to make this their vacation spot.
I see what's happening here.
And
whenever left to your own devices, you start to spiral a little bit, and you kind of get further and further into your own head, and it kind of becomes like an Alice in Wonderland type of thing. Whenever you've got a partner, somebody keeps reeling you back in, and they go, "Hey, big dog, maybe you need to get a couple hours of sleep, right?"
Relax.
But whenever you're doing it on your own, you're just like, it's like hour 6 or 7 of the same repetition, and you go, I think I'm onto something here, and you just keep going deeper and deeper into the madness, right?
That was kind of what it was, man. And then it was, I sent like a couple of them like as jokes to my friends, and was just like, isn't this dumb? Wasn't even like, this is the book. Was like, hey, look at this stupid thing. And I remember my friends just being like, that's awesome. Like, that's fun. What are you going to do with that? And I was like, I'm going to delete it. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, this is great. And so then it started to like, the idea started to form in my head. So I want to use these limited skills that I have, do make these little like weird pop art, weed themed images. And then I started to think a little further into it. I was like, well, what if the book, because I knew I wanted the book to be conversational with the viewer, right? I wanted it to be something different and something that kind of talked back to you. And so I was like, well, what if it's an art gallery? What if I have this little, I honestly started, the little Microsoft paperclip guy?
Clippy.
From back in the day. Yeah, Clippy that would like come around with you and be like, hey, here's what's going on. So I was like, well, what if I have a flyer that's like Clippy, and it just like shows up periodically and tries to explain what you're looking at. And then the rest of the pages are just, you get to walk through the gallery and try to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
The gallery. So the first time I looked at this, I was stone cold sober, and I looked at it and I said, well, this is fucked up. This is just the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. Which I understand how a lot of people can take that and view it as like a criticism or something like that. In no way did I mean it in a negative at all. Like
Yeah.
I grew up with the old school like CDs and poster and vinyl art and stuff like that, where it was just the weirdest shit between the 70s and 90s. Like that was the icon of like decoupage and it looked like if you gave your book to me looks like if you gave Iggy Pop a scrapbook and we're like, hey, you're just gonna be really into weed for a little bit. And like that is like it's like a Violent Femmes album came to life and stuff whenever you look at it. And I just love the absurdity of it. And weird to me is always fucking welcome. And
Sure. Yeah.
the more I've looked at it, whenever you were talking about the aliens hunting people, I just want to let everybody know I'm gonna, with your permission, I'm gonna drop it right here real quick. Just the fucking caked out aliens, just the cakey aliens, the attention to detail to just make sure that those aliens were cakey and asses flexed as you introduce the alien weed world.
It's so funny.
Just
I
weird,
love those
absurdist shit that I love.
Yeah, so it's fun because I feel like like I was saying before, my lack of like ability in Illustrator and graphic design and all that is like that limitation I think really helps make it more individual. I think like in retrospect now, like getting to look back at it, like the fact that I can't, like those aliens and everything else that's like not weed in there, like those people and everything, that's all like stock stuff. So I have like an Envato subscription, and so I get like licensed to all these stock things. And to me, that was really fun because like, do you remember back in grade school, you guys are both fellas of a certain age, when we would do you'd go to like the library for like your art class and you'd get a bunch of the old magazines and you'd cut everything out and you'd kind of make like a collage.
Yep.
To me, that was the Envato, like the stock stuff is like my stack of magazines, and I'm limited to what's in there. Like I only have the aliens that they have in their 3D modeling, and I can kind of move them around to like kind of match the scene that I'm trying to do, and then I just cut everybody together. And then I adjust, like color and lighting on the different things to make sure everybody kind of matches and look like they're in the same scene. But yeah, I got some caked up aliens in there.
Yeah,
and it's just part of the fun for me is just like scrolling through my little Rolodex of magazines images and just figuring out. Yeah, doing all the cutting
Puppy
out.
Dog Choir. Like,
dude, that's right. The Choir of Angels.
I need everybody to go out and purchase this book just so I can have conversations with them about it in public, because if I walk up to someone at the next weed event and I go, hey man, did you see Zach's interpretation of angels?
Yeah.
And they say no, then the conversation is over. I'm just going to walk away because I can't talk to you if you don't know how to talk to me about the weed angels. Like,
you need to,
that's the only way. That's the only way we can carry on a conversation in polite, civilized society now.
Right.
Is if you can talk to me about caked up aliens and weed angels from Zach's book.
I can't stop looking at it. It's so good.
Go to
Let's play red light, green light. Only not the one you played as a kid. This one's very much for adults. Here we go. If you haven't tried Curio Wellness cannabis products, that's definitely a red light. But it's also a green light, because Greenlight Dispensary Southeast is the new home of Curio. For the best flower and edibles in Missouri, ask for Curio by name at Greenlight. You've got the green light. Go.
For use only by qualifying patients or consumers at least 21 years old. Individual results may vary.
I told you whenever I first looked at it, the feeling of walking through the museum and the curated feel of what you're doing, and like the stylistic like viewpoint and stuff is so absurd and all over the place, but it made me feel more brought into the book, and in a weird way it reminded me of Ferris Bueller. Like I don't know if you guys get that, but like as I'm sitting looking at it, and it wasn't even a physical book, it was just a digital, like on a fucking screen, I felt like I was Cameron and Ferris Bueller, like looking around at all this beautiful art and kind of being encapsulated by it
Oh, I
and
see.
stuff.
Yeah.
And again, stone cold sober, this is just how fucking
Yeah.
weird and wild the inner working of Zach's brain is, that it just feels like a big warm, really really comforting, and maybe a bit unhinged, like your craziest relative that you really really like.
Yeah.
Just them giving you a hug at Christmas, you know, you're like, hey, I'm really glad you're still alive, you made it another year, buddy. And they're just like, yeah, let me tell you about, you know, the crazy shit that the IRS is doing and how they bugged my brain. And you're like, I love you, Uncle Robbie.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, now
Yeah.
I'm the conspiracy uncle. This is what I've been dubbed now. You make
you
6 or 7 images of angels made out of weed and animals. Now all of a sudden the government's at.
These are your pets in here, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Are these the heads of your animals?
All
Okay.
my 7 little rugrats.
They
I
make
have
the book for me.
in addition to the overwhelming amount of weed images, I also have an overwhelming amount of animal images.
Very animal friendly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I was making the angels and everything, I was like, I don't think that any of these people in these stock images deserve to be the angels. I think that my angels should be the angels. And then the last part, the fourth gallery, that it's called a word from the talent, that that was the least thought out of all the galleries, as far as like I just really wanted like there to be like some sort of like silly stoner wisdom.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
and some hot takes in there.
a couple hot takes.
Some
I've
maintenance.
had people be like,
"Hey,
can you tell them that the resin is not?
I
like,
won't.
Smoking resin is not bad.
I won't hear it. That's savage behavior. Grow up. Stop smoking the resin out of your bowls. It's trash. It's for the trash.
I do want a giant beware of edibles poster.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
At some point, I really want.
That picture. So if you go and you check out the book, or even if you just follow the Instagram, I'll be posting like a lot of these pictures up there too, just like individually. But yeah, there is a picture.
What's the Instagram tag? Let's put it.
Yeah, yeah. Where is that?
It is something that I should know. I think it's just Altered Focus Studio.
Oh.
It goes real good with things to look at while you're high. It's something I should know.
It is Altered Focus Studio.
Okay.
Altered Focus Studio. Perfect.
Yeah. So, but that picture of that cat laying in that box is 100% not made up at all. Like that is, I just cut him in the box out. My cats love a cardboard box more than anything in the world. Like they just, if we get Amazon stuff, we got to leave the cardboard box on the table for them to play with for a day or two. And they just love laying in them, playing in them. And one day I found my cat just inside of the smallest box. He's the fattest cat you've seen inside of God's smallest box. And he's just in it and doing all of these little cat stretches and stuff. And like, I got that picture and loved it from like the start. And then I knew that I wanted, like when I was making that image, I was like, okay, beware of edibles is funny. And I'm scrolling through, I was like, which of these pictures of my animals is good? And then I see him like, and I'm just like, oh, that's got to be the one. That's
but the rest of your animals don't have human bodies, do they? It's just they don't have
3 of them
canine.
Three of them are
heads and human bodies.
3 of them are anthropomorphic beings that blasted down to me from a spaceship.
They're great. They're all.
We were just burning. We had a fire going in the backyard, and they beamed down, and they were like, "This, you guys seem cool."
Zach just adopted animorphs that didn't complete the transition.
Yeah,
see,
halfway through.
Good things happen when you don't panic and run away.
Yeah.
You can make good friends.
Good. That's a t-shirt right here. Good things happen when you don't panic and run away.
So Zach, you've been in this industry for a while now. I mean, like, what are we talking here?
Legally, I've been in the industry. I was, let's see, I've been doing the commercial photography thing full time for about 1.5 years now. And before that, I was a marketing director for about 4 or 5 years in Missouri.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, about 6 or 7 years basically since the beginning in Missouri.
Veteran. Yep.
Yeah. My agent ID number back when I had one was like 3 digits.
Really?
Yeah. It was a big point of pride for me.
Mine was like 6. Mine's like 6'7" or 6'3" or something like that.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I was real close to like the 1,000th, but it was still like, you know, I could pull it out at the facilities and get that OG agent ID
not
number.
A whole lot of people with numbers lower than mine anymore.
You know? Then I let mine expire and I had to get a new one, and I was out there with the regular folks, but. Yeah, I mean, I've been around a while, and then before that, I had been, you know, in the industry at some point, since I was
why'd you raise your eyebrows like that when you said that?
Because I was illegally selling weed to people.
Oh,
okay.
Under the watchful eye
people
of the law.
Used to do that. People used to do that.
A couple degenerates.
Yeah,
we would do it.
I remember them.
I was one of those that was like, I made
smoking the resin, smoking the reclaim.
I was, to be honest with you, I was a little child once. I would dig that out. I'd be, you know, with getting the paper clip and trying to pull it all out of the butt of the pipe, but not anymore. You got to grow up at some point.
Yeah. I got yelled at for throwing roaches away the other day.
Man,
it's like, no. Like once I put it out, I'm not lighting it again, man.
Dude, so speaking of being a child, here was a lesson that I learned with. So we used to do the roach blunts and everything like that. We loved it, but we had heard tell that you could make lollipops out of weed, and we were like, well, we don't have any like spare weed. Like we're not gonna do anything like that. This is like right before I started selling weed. And so we were like, we have all these roaches we've been saving. Didn't think about that being a terrible idea at all. Made these lollipops that you've never tasted something so gross in your life. They just absolute, like, it was almost as if you were smoking resin, which is disgusting.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, not a great day in the kitchen.
I tried so hard to screenshot Tim's face as you were describing the lollipops, and I couldn't get it in time. So I'm gonna have to wait until I go back and edit it. But that's my next T-shirt is just Tim's face, like
yeah, roach pops.
Oh. Yeah.
Hey,
holy cow!
There's a brand you can get behind and you know, probably feel bad about yourself about.
Maybe roach pops will appear in the next things to look at while you're high. We'll have like a roach pop vending machine.
More things to look at while you're high.
Yeah, I mean, so
there you go.
Due to the massive success that we know this is going to have,
we hope.
Have you been thinking about V2, V3, you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's actually, give me 1 second.
Hydrate, baby.
Yeah.
You got stuff.
Got that coffee mouth going now. I've been sipping on this mug for a minute. But yeah, I've got a couple things already almost ready, to be honest. So
there you go.
We're going to do a rookie's guide to weed. So what I'm kind of going to turn this into is, again, like you said, was a marketing director in cannabis space for like 4 or 5 years, and always had a lot of like fun merch ideas that, you know, pitch to the CEOs and different things like that, owners. And a lot of them get turned down because ultimately
they go no.
They're like, this isn't, and they're not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, they're a cannabis company.
This doesn't suit our brand.
They're not a merch company. Yeah, we're not doing anything like that. So
it worked out super poorly for cookies.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. You don't want to be doing too. No. Yeah. You don't want to be. You don't want to be too successful.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing $2 billion a year in mainstream revenue,
because then you just have to burn the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who has time to even do a fire? Yeah.
You gotta donate so much of it because then you've got to get tax write-offs and shit. Like, who wants
Oh
that?
man, yeah. Listen, hey man, it's the end of March.
I'd
Don't
rather
talk to
stay
me about
poor in
taxes
this
right now.
industry,
Yeah.
That's my philosophy on life. Stay poor and fat. Like make nobody want me financially or physically. And there.
And I'll tell you, it feels good to be successful at something.
Hey, it does, man.
It feels good to be winning,
Goals,
baby.
It does.
Goals.
Oh my God, you guys.
Other people are trying to climb mountains, but I'm seeing balls go through the hoop.
That's right.
That's right. We winning.
But this is basically just like a way, like I get to make the merch that I wanted to now. So like I get to make dumb
Beautiful,
shirts. I get to make but one of the things that I really wanted to do forever was like make a little beginner's like rookie's guide to weed.
Yeah.
Because I, sitting in dispensaries, having conversations with people, listening to bud tenders have conversations with people, and just hearing all of the misinformation that people have been given about like products, and just not really understand or being like overwhelmed to before like even going in. Like I know I have some people that are close to me that are a little older. Maybe they're family members, maybe they're not, maybe they are my Aunt Marlis, maybe they aren't, that have come and asked me about things that they've been like, will you come to Sedalia with me and go to the store because I'm scared? And I don't want people to be scared. I don't think I know that it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words that you don't know when you walk into a dispensary, and you can walk out scared to ask questions and with something you don't need. So this book is basically just a collection of answers to all of those like conversations that I've seen had. So it has the beginning of it just kind of goes through like history of humans' use with cannabis, going into like the drug war, and like how that kind of happened, and how this like demonization of the plant, others in general, kind of came to be. And then we go into a little bit of like the anatomy of the plant, the cultivation process, just so you kind of like, I'm not going into depth on anything because I'm not an expert by any means, but it's a collection of information that smarter people than me have either told me or have read, and me just kind of giving that to people in a dumbed down version that isn't you don't got to go listen to that smart guy in the lab talk. Like I'll translate that for you.
Yeah.
And then
I love the like the cliff notes like aspect of it, like the dummy's guide to weed history.
And it's going to be called a rookie's guide to weed.
Cool.
And it's going to go through all the methods of consumption too.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, maybe not that much edibles. Maybe dabs are not for beginners. These are the different types of pipes that you'll see.
Well,
so
Zach,
like,
you're also a silly Billy, so I'm assuming that there's going to be some humor in this book.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and it's going to be it's written by me in my voice, and we're going to keep it with the theme of things to look at while you're high, where it's going to be like an interactive art piece as well, a little bit less art heavy, a little more text heavy, obviously with the informational pages, but it's gonna have its own like special framing similar to like the art gallery. It's gonna be more of like a weed conference with some familiar faces. And then in addition to that, to go along with it, I'm gonna be doing like a strain journal or like a product journal for people to be able to, obviously like new people to be able to track what they have been trying, what works for them. Maybe you can see after a while, like, oh, I'm a big linalool guy. Terpinolene makes me scared. That kind of shit. So like that kind of stuff. Sorry, can we cuss here, Mom?
Oh, man, you can cuss.
But that kind of
rip it and rip it.
Fuck. Hell yeah. But that kind of stuff where that you can get to really understand what works for you, especially people that are using things more medicinally. And then for folks like us that just like trying weed, it's I like it's sort of like a weed passport almost. You can go back and be like, oh yeah, I've smoked Orange 43 from local or different things like that. So it's I think that it'll be good for a lot of different people, but the main thing for me is we've had our fun. We've got our little things to look at while you're high. Now I want to do something that's like more for helping people understand cannabis more.
I love that.
Yeah.
And to really become more acquainted with it, feel more comfortable with it. And then additionally, you know, maybe for the people that are very well versed in cannabis, maybe you read it, you laugh, or maybe you do learn something.
Yeah.
So are we ever going to get any printed versions of some of the recipes that we've done on your separate socials and stuff?
Man, I don't know. Maybe Altered Eats kind of had to die. It took up too much time to do on my
Yeah,
own.
It does. It takes a
lot.
ton of time.
You know, and you have to buy food. Turns out, and it's not getting cheaper.
Mhm. Nope.
Might be a great place to drop in some of your basic or beginner recipes, and to, you know, just tell as you're talking about the experience. Like a lot of people, I've ruined many a crock pot before I learned how to properly decarb. You know,
Yeah, there is a
can't make
decarb
chicken
section
wings for the family and that anymore.
there is a decarb section in the rookie book.
Okay.
Nice.
Where it kind of go. It more explains what happens when you light weed on fire, right? It releases that acidic molecule, and kind of goes into like why you would see more THCA in lab tests than you do THC, but you always hear about THC. But it does kind of briefly mention that you don't mess up no edibles decarbing.
Right.
There's a few lawsuits over the last couple of years that could have used that breakdown.
Oh, really?
Is that so?
Sorry, talking out of turn. Talking out of
That's
turn.
all right.
No, tell me the tea. What happened? Who didn't do it?
We've just seen in Missouri and a few other states that there's a lot of times whenever people who are making decisions about legality of things don't understand the science behind things, and so whenever you have regulators that are saying THC and THCA are the same thing, but their actual written laws and definitions have them defined as two separate things.
The gray market stuff.
It becomes a little problematic, but
Yeah.
we won't dive too far into that. We can save that for Brandon's new upcoming series of conspiracy theories in cannabis. Stay tuned, and that one won't be sponsored by anybody because nobody wants to touch it. It's not a real thing. Don't worry.
Yes, it is.
Before I know we've got a hard stop coming up. I wanted to delve into the fact that you are more than just cannabis. You are more than just weed. You have all this knowledge and experience in this space, but you're bringing your talents, as LeBron once said, you're bringing your talents to South Beach.
To
right?
South
Like
Beach.
you're branching out and kind of relaunching the Altered Focus brand as Zachary David Photography or Zachary David Photo.
Yeah. So originally Altered Focus was like a commercial photography business that was supposed to cater just to cannabis and hemp brands, and kind of help being a marketing director that was always, super busy, had about 30 hats that I wore. The Altered Focus was supposed to be this thing that helped marketing directors like me then that had all these hats to be able to say, hey, look, you don't have to worry about like product photography and doing things like that. You bring me in, I understand the space, I understand compliance. Just we talk about what you need and then let me rip on it, and you have one less thing to worry about. So that has been going well, but as we're growing, and it's just been reaching out and wanting the challenge of shooting things that aren't just like weed brands and stuff like that, being like, oh, I want to go into like the beverage space, I want to shoot food, doing like some cosmetic products, stuff like that, and have started to shoot more people, not like with a camera obviously, but doing that, and it just started to be less and less like fitting, I guess, the name as I'm doing all that, and
I get it.
Yeah, the focus is a little less altered. So I wanted to be able to have a brand name that I could bring to these people outside of the space that made them feel safe with choosing to work with me as a commercial photographer, and kind of separate me from being just the weed guy and the stance of like the commercial photography world,
Mhm.
where altered focus, especially now that I had to kind of dump doing altered eats, altered focus is now my way to like be more connected to the cannabis community in the space, be more connected to like the actual like bud tenders, people that are in store versus just communicating with all of the corporate people. No offense, Tim. But you know, being in there with like those people that are like boots on the ground. I'm going to start talking to a couple dispensaries locally to do like start doing like pop-ups, bring some books, show it off, talk to the bud tenders, talk to the people that are coming in, and really get back to like what altered focus was originally supposed to be, which was just sort of a love poem to weed through my creativity, and being able to connect and bring that to more of the community instead of doing more like commercial stuff. So altered focus gets to kind of get its revamp as this fun space for me to share silly weed and psychedelic themed art, and be able to like share the cannabis knowledge that I've like gotten over the years. And I still get to do the creative stuff with like the photos and everything. Like I kind of consider that more creative than artistic. I think like this where like art kind of speaks to your soul, and the commercial photography isn't really speaking to a soul, but it is creative. It's fun. The challenge of how to like light things, make things look correct and, you know, commercial and professional. But artistically, this really scratches an itch and means a lot. It turned into a lot more than it was when I was just going to put a bunch of pictures of weed in a book and have my buddy make some pretty things that says high temp dabs build character or something.
Yeah.
Well, it is
where do you get
beautiful
this
and
book?
wonderful.
Like, tell us, how do we get this book?
So it's going to be up at alteredfocusstudio.com. That website transfer should have taken place by when this goes out. So alteredfocusstudio.com, you're going to be able to get a book there. This guy, again, things to look at while you're high. And also have a calendar, so it'll start from April and goes through March of next year. So it's just got all of the macro and studio photography from the book in there. It also has like some fun little like weed facts in every month, spot to take some notes. And it's got, you know, all the normal holidays you'd find on your calendar, plus like notable stoner birthdays, things like that, and different like weed dates. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little educational calendar for you that looks cool and has a bunch of weed on it. And then just we're gonna be launching with like shirts, mugs, tote bags. They all have like all the artwork and stuff from the book.
Great.
I will be making a purchase of a poster or tote bag that says "Beware of edibles."
Nice, yeah, I'm getting that one too.
That's my absolute favorite. It's weird, it's wild, it's a little bit unhinged, and probably gonna freak some people out. And
my
that's
mom,
really
for sure.
like that's exactly what art should do.
Absolutely.
That's the most punk rock shit, is whenever you do stuff because you're passionate about it and because you know you love something. As I think the perfect way to close it is with what you said a few minutes ago. Your efforts are truly a love letter to weed, man. And I truly appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your weird psychotic brain with the rest of us, because it makes me feel a little bit more normal whenever I see weird, crazy shit out in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah,
Good
thanks
luck
for
with
having
this
me.
book.
Thank you guys. Yeah, buy the book. Scare your friends with it.
Flower Pot NYC is America's leading brand design and packaging agency for cannabis and emerging brands. They're cannabis consumers themselves, so they design packaging that doesn't just look beautiful. It protects and showcases the integrity of the product inside. Over the next 3 months, they're offering $1,000 off your first order, plus $1,000 if you refer a brand that becomes a client. They'll even beat your current packaging invoice by 5% or walk away. There's some conditions that apply. I'll let them handle that. Family run, good people, great product. Flower Pot NYC. Grow with us.